Good afternoon from Lower Trestles here in San Clemente, California. It is a Friday afternoon, and we still have plenty of fans out here still trying to soak in what went down on a huge Day 3 of competition for the Hurley Pro and the Swatch Women's Pro. Welcome to the WSL Post Show. Joe Chappelle alongside former Big Wave champ Pete Mel, 88 World champ Barton Lynch. Pete, we woke up this morning and you couldn't stop dancing. You saw the sets coming through, and we started with brilliant conditions.
We sure did, but I'm trying to swallow that last heat. That was amazing stuff. I mean, Stephanie had the wave to win there and just couldn't pull it off.
We were hanging on the desk watching that moment for Steph Gilmore, chasing a three-point ride. Barton Lynch, from a coaching standpoint, what would you be telling her right now?
I mean, she overcooked it, didn't she? That was one of those ones where you had to know you needed such a little score. She was on the wave, just finished the thing, and she got real excited. And that turn alone, if she completed it, was going to be the score, but it didn't need to be that big.
See how significant that fall was for a three in the grand scheme of things in the world title showdown. Pete, you were looking at the draw and just realizing the matchup coming up in round 4. Gilmore will have Conlog, but you also see how much that is in favor of Carissa Moore. She's number 3 in the world. Now she's got a spoiler Gilmore, who's 7th, who could take out Conlog. Coming into the later down the stretch, Pete.
It's so true, and you know, it's just how we always talk about it. It's one of our taglines. You can't script this.
Incredible. Well, last heat winner was Carissa Moore, moving straight to the quarterfinals. Carissa's with Strider.
Thanks, Joe. Carissa, you made it through a scrappy heat there. Stephanie Gilmore had a 9 in that heat. Does that play into your psyche when you're sitting out the back waiting?
I mean, anytime you come up against Steph Gilmore, you know you have to bring your A game, and I actually didn't feel like I brought my A game that heat, and so the way that it was going, it was like, come on, I got to turn it around, and I kind of thought it was Steph's heat to lose because she had she knows which waves to pick. She's really good out here. She's been surfing really, really solid. So I was just kind of trying to get myself back in the heat and just put something together, and luckily I got a wave that kind of lined up, and I didn't really do much, but I think it's good just to know, hey, in the next heat you can't, you got away with one, but it's not going to happen again.
So obviously you feel like you got more work to do.
Definitely, for sure.
In that heat, Stephanie had the wave to get through. Ross Williams said she missed a 2-foot putt. When you're watching that, do you feel like you've been in that situation before, that much pressure?
Yeah, I mean, I really think that the surfing game is more mental than it is physical. I think everyone on tour knows how to surf, and it's all about putting the stuff up here together. And I didn't see the wave she got, but I did. I saw when she took off. I was like, oh, this is probably the score. She'll probably get it here. But I looked back, and then she was paddling back out. So I was like, okay, I just got to get back out and hold priority and not make a priority mistake. So.
Well, congratulations on jumping on through. Can't wait to see you in the next round. Back up to you guys.
Thank you very much, Strider. Carissa Moore, a 3-time world champ, defending champ of the Swatch Women's Pro, breaking down the action with one of her longtime rivals, Stephanie Gilmore. Barton, we've been able to see these matchups come so early now, with Gilmore's seeding being 7th. You can see how it puts Carissa Moore up against the ropes just with pressure when she has her longtime rival so early in the contest.
And we saw it in the men's with Mick and Joel matching up so early. So it makes it all exciting, doesn't it? Because, those top guys and women aren't used to having such challenging heats early on. So I think it's great for the spectators and a challenge. You can see Carissa, she knew she got away with one there, and it was far from her best performance, but you could see at the back end the energy started coming into her surfing. So when you dig that deep and you find it and you pull it out and you get those heat wins, they're the ones that can roll on to something bigger and better over an entire event.
What an epic way to wrap up a big Friday here. Well, we kicked off a long time ago, it feels like now, 8 o'clock in the morning with some big round 2 heats. Sudden death heats for guys that are focused on the world title race, like Matt Wilkinson, under pressure to perform against a wild card this year, Brett Simpson. What happened here, Pete?
This was a wild heat. I think the scale was set at a certain level, and they got compressed in the 6-point range. Wilkinson surfed amazing. He's back on that magic red board, and the thing just does whatever he wants. He surfed well. The waves kind of let him down slightly, and I think that was really the difference. And then Brett, he brought out something that we haven't seen from him this year. We don't see him on the championship tour, but even during the QS, kind of going to that innovation and pulling it off.
I just saw Glenn Hall. Sorry, mate. I just saw Glenn Hall walk past us while we were waiting on his way to the judges to have a chat about that one. So that was the controversial heat of the day.
I think one thing they wanted to know, Barton, was they wanted to watch the video replays with the head judge, and the head judge promised them they could meet later to break it down. So now they're going to get that. But what kind of information was Wilco hoping for, trying to sort out the numbers that were going down this morning?
And you kind of hope that they might give you one back at some point in time, you know what I mean? If you just let it go, well then you don't seem like you care. Here's Julian Wilson though.
Julian Wilson ends up going down, a former finalist, number 5 in the world, to Alex Ribeiro. How was this decision made, Pete?
Well, I think that even if it was 0.06, I think, was the difference in this heat. So it was a really close one. Same thing went here is, Julian went up there and had a chat, and as expected, you would think that those close heats, you feel like it went your way. Sometimes the judges over there say it went another.
Top seeds kept falling. Adriano de Souza, last year's runner-up, last year's world champ, down to Kai Otten. How did Kai find the way to win here, Barton?
Well, the backhand attack, and he got the one bomb set of the whole heat and dropped an 8-point ride, and that was it. That 8 was the difference. Adriano looked a little bit sort of off his game. The energy wasn't what we're used to seeing from him.
Nothing good. I feel like I'm making good decisions. I thought I won that heat, but I guess I have to watch some replays and see. Right now I'm just a little bit unpleased.
And then the beginning of the heat, I thought, okay, so many sets already, so I would just try to get some scores, get the rhythm, and then as soon as I look back, the best way to come through the heat, and Kai got an 8. So, and after that, the ocean disappeared, and it was flat, and during the whole heat, it was like, it's part of the job, and now I have to settle down again and work hard, and I think at this stage everything feels good, boards, mental and physical, but I think I'm not really synced up with the ocean, and for me it's a friends event, so I just work hard for that event. Probably I hope the ocean sync with me and have a good result.
3 consecutive knockout blows to kick off round 2 for the guys on top of the Jeep leaderboard. Wilco, number 2, out of the contest. Wilson, number 5 in the world, knocked out, last year's world champ and finalist here, knocked out. And just judging by the demeanor of the post-heat interviews, the loss stung Wilco, stung Julian Wilson. De Souza moving on, noticing Kai was on the best wave there. He's already trying to recover. Have you ever seen a look that fierce in the eyes of Matt Wilkinson, Pete?
Not really. This is somebody who has a chance, and he's watching it slip away, and it gets really hard to deal with mentally. Especially when you're surfing as good as he was. I mean, he was surfing amazing, and to have it slip away through his fingers like that, it must hurt.
Interesting roll back at Tahiti. BL, another world champ, Aki, was kind of saying how crucial a win in Tahiti would be for him, and saying that the world title could slide if he didn't accomplish some solid results there. Now with the loss here, a 25th. Is this world title campaign anywhere near recoverable for Matt Wilkinson?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think the thing in his eyes, he looked gutted. He looked like he had no answers. He didn't know what to do, what to say, how to feel. You've just got to change that momentum. And sometimes you've just got to let go of the trying and try and get that rhythm back in. But like Pete said, he was in great form.
Yeah.
That was great surfing, and he didn't fall. He fell on a couple, but they weren't critical waves. And so it was one of those ones where the judges had to make a decision, and they went with something that had some aerial approach in it in Brett Simpson's heat, and that was the decision. So, in the end, it wasn't like he was out of form and he was scratching around without anything. He had a great performance, and, get yourself on the right waves and maybe start to recreate what you are a little bit and put some airs in there. Show us some of the stuff he is known for instead of just sticking to the stuff you've already shown us.
Get a funkier haircut.
And he did it himself. And then you change the script to the more experienced guys, the greatest of all time, Kelly Slater. All of a sudden there's this talk about world title number 12 being a real thing. Yesterday he didn't win his round 1 heat, but he looked dynamic. Pete, you couldn't stop talking about his surfboard yesterday.
Well, as you should. I mean, he didn't show up with something we're like, what the heck are you riding? This is exactly what he's refined what he had, that known what it works. And that's That's smart. It's really brilliant. He was able to go to a place that he was able to practice and dial in his equipment. But you know what he did also in this is he didn't try to outdo himself and do something dynamic and different. He just surfed solid.
Yeah. Absolutely beautiful surfing. I agree on the board. It looks like all those elements he's been playing with have come together in this board, and it's super fast, super light, responsive, and he's looking loose. Like, look at the speed here from that little transition cut down into that last turn. Beautiful surfing.
Really fun to see Kelly in this kind of rhythm and form, the most successful surfer in Lower Trestles history. The defending Hurley Pro champ Mick Fanning, kind of a wild card spoiler this year. I don't think he liked being in the second round after losing to his childhood rival Joel Parkinson yesterday, Pete.
But you know what? I don't think he was really too worried about losing in that round, because he certainly didn't look anywhere near it. I mean, he was on fire, on point, putting big scores up, confident, all of those things you expect from a world champion like him.
Well, Barton, it's crazy how methodically Mick makes this look. You can just give him eights before he starts, just like his J-Bay win. He makes no mistakes on turn selection. This guy acts like a machine when it comes down to competing.
And you can imagine that if you're doing it part-time, you might kind of step back a gear from top gear. He looks like he's gone up a gear.
Yeah.
And there's just this intensity in everything that he does that you wouldn't expect from someone competing part-time this year.
He's dialed it up. He definitely has dialed it up. It's a lot faster, a lot more committed, a lot more, dirty, as we like to call it, and I like that about Mick, and I think it's, he's on pace to win another event here.
Last year was a special run for Mick Fanning to take out this event over De Souza as he looks to take out what might be his last event of the season. Hasn't made a statement about next year yet. What a spoiler. He's taking out guys that are trying to requalify, and he said he's sticking to his word. He won't be showing up through the European leg and through pipe, and I'm sure everybody in his corner is probably going to try to change that around.
Well, and he had touched on the fact that he really, Strider touched on the fact that he looked gas paddling out. That heat had a ton of waves in it. But the other part of it is that he's been sitting on the couch, relaxing. Good on it. He's not training, he's cruising, man. And that's and sure enough, he's paying the price of probably not being at 100% top form shape-wise. But his surfing looks amazing. So
Wilco should go and sit on that couch with him for a little bit.
Some great matchups to look forward to in the title race in round 3, which we could see tomorrow. After the break, let's talk about the Swatch Women's Pro. We had some radical round 3 matchups that went down today. Welcome back to the WSL Post Show here on Friday afternoon at Lower Trestles in San Clemente, California. We just talked about the heavyweight matchups that we got to see in round 2 for the Hurley Pro. Now into the women's side of things. It was so fun to watch today. Pete, Mel, Barton Lynch. We had this kind of radical non-elimination format that keeps us guessing on game plans. You got an extra surfer in the lineup, no loser, but a huge advantage to skip to the quarterfinals. And let's just stop at one name, Tyler Wright. Oh my goodness, that was one of the best two-wave starts of the season, Barton.
And the flow and the rhythm and the power, just everything came together. I said to Pete while we were watching, she would have won a heat in the men's round, guaranteed today with this performance. Look at this surfing. If she stays on point with this type of performance, I can't see anyone beating her.
Well, what I liked about it was the energy she carries all through these first two waves. I mean, she just blew up. I mean, and it was just something where she wanted to show everyone that she came to party, and she did with that yellow jersey.
And it was such a different switch from the heat before, where all three surfers were in the mix, kind of stumbling on their final turns. Tyler made two quick decisions, had everybody comboed at the 20-minute mark, and nothing changed from there on out, Pete.
Must feel pretty good, right? I mean, when you see that and you watch through the entire performance of all the ladies throughout that last few heats, and she is by far the dominating surfer.
Aussies always talk about beware of the wounded, tape on the ankle, Barton. She looks like she's putting in more heat than she did on the opening day.
I was just down there getting some needles stuck in my neck because it's hurting. and Tyler came in, and I was listening while I had my head in the thing. I was listening to what she was saying, and she was saying I felt great, it felt perfect, and they were doing a little bit of extra work on it, but she was really confident and felt so strong about it. So I think that injury's history, and that performance was just classy all round. Everything about it was perfect.
And what an amazing performance from Tyler Wright. And it's so incredible to see her in this kind of form, skipping to the quarterfinals, because some of her rivals in this world title race are dealing with that crazy round four. Seeing the fall from Gilmore, the big matchup that we're all going to be talking about is Courtney Conlogue taking on Steph. They've got this mini rivalry underway. Courtney knocked her out of Honolulu Bay and almost turned it into a sudden death surf-off in that sixth world title. So they're going to be going blow for blow. We'll see how critical that fall will end up being for Stephanie Gilmore coming into tomorrow.
Yeah, we sure will. But I'm sure what that happened too is it fired up Courtney, because I mean Courtney's performances haven't been like top shape yet, and I think that she's going to have to really up her level if she's going to really want to get into the quarters, semis, and final and win this event.
Obviously, coming into Saturday, plenty of swell on the line. Round 3 matchups for the best men's surfers in the world. So many guys to look forward to. Felipe Toledo's been this kind of underdog all-star, even though he's not in that top 5 picture right now. How do you fare his chances to kind of save his season at the end of the year?
Well, against Karo Abelli, I think he's a good chance in that one. The one I love is Kalohe and Connor Coffin. That's a great heat. 2 young guys, 2 local guys. That's going to be a beauty.
Really fun ones to watch. Remember, tomorrow we'll be back down here at 7:30 a.m. for Dawn Patrol for the Hurley Pro and the Swatch Women's Pro. We'll leave you with the highlights of another epic Friday, and we hope you enjoy WorldSurfLeague.com. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow. Take care.